Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sunday Night Ghost Stories on a Sunday, as nature intended. Here we are in the library. His derpiness is down there in front of the fire. There he is. You can just see him there. We're here in the library. I just said that. It's been a long day, honestly. What are we reading tonight? We are still reading. Good start to the show. We are still reading the excellent Haunted Places of Scotland. I've got to say, this has been one of the best books we've read. It has been solid from start to finish, and I wish that they did other books in the series. Perhaps I'm going to go and have a look on Goblin's Head, and have a look on their website and see what else they do, because that is just a solid book. What are we drinking tonight? Well, bit of a speciality. This is from the Beer 52 consignment, and we have here Kriek Belgique cherry beer with a variety of red fruits. Now, there we go. Now, if we go back, we need a wibbly wobbly effect for this, but if we go back 33 years ago, when I was a strapping young lad in my mid-20s, I went on a weekend to a show in Belgium with my good friend Mike from Trowbridge. He drove over there, and we stayed in Antwerp, and our hosts took us out for the night, and we parked up in this lovely little cobbled market square where Mike and I were working our way through the beer menu, and we had this cherry beer. We absolutely loved it. And our host said to us, he leaned over and he said, guys, the cherry beer is for the girls. And Mike and I looked at each other and went, oh, okay. More cherry beer. So I've not had cherry beer, Belgian cherry beer, in over 30 years. So I'm looking forward to this tonight. So there we go. Kriek Belgique cherry beer with a variety of red fruits. 3%, so not particularly strong. I'm just seeing what it says on the back here. No, God, no, that's no. I thought that perhaps that was a story. It's not. It's just the ingredients. So there we go. Kriek Belgique. Oh, and before we've even read a story yet, we've already got a dead soldier. And Run VT.
Oh, it's jolly nice of you. Hello, dead soldier. Seen plenty of those in my time.
Indeed. And we're washing it down with the Western Gold Honey, which I've got to say is pretty much my new favourite tipple. You getting comfortable down there, Derps? He's right in front of the fire, so let's crack on, shall we? Because the sooner we crack on, the sooner we can have some supper, and the sooner I can also have a tipple as well. So we'll read back on where we were last time. Pittodrie House. Set in 200 acres in the foothills of the impressive and foreboding hill of Benaki, Pittodrie House was once a property of the Erskines and incorporates an old tower house. The building was extended in later centuries, including after it became a hotel. A chamber, which was formerly used as a nursery, is said to be haunted. The story going that a servant had died after falling down a stair during a fire. Other manifestations are reputed to include unexplained footsteps, cries and screams, and the smell of burning, all centered on the old stair. Indeed, one story has the apparition of a flame-haired servant lass throwing itself down the staircase once a year, reported to be on Halloween. Although it is not clear from the story whether it is the hair which is aflame or whether the bogle has red hair. There are also reports of an apparition being seen in the library. Another tale is that a phantom carriage with a single horse has been seen riding along the driveway. Hotel, telephone number, website address, and that's all it says. Bit too early for a beer. Let's read another one, then we'll have a beer. Place of Bon Hill. place of Bon Hill was described as a mysterious old house, and the building incorporated an ancient castle into the later mansion. The whole building was demolished in 1950, and the site is occupied by Vale of Leven School. The property was originally held by the Lennox family, but Bon Hill passed to the Lindsays in the 15th century, then to the Smollets around 200 years later. One story is that a tunnel led down from a hidden entrance behind the drawing room fireplace, and it was believed to go to the banks of the River Leven, but nobody had used it for as long as anyone could remember. In 1785, a piper was sent to explore the passage, but he vanished without trace. Afterwards, it was said faint phantom pipe music was often heard from within the walls. I know what you're thinking. We've heard that story before. Yeah. Does make you wonder. Oh, and it makes me wonder. Oh, we got some fan mails turned up. What's the fan mail saying? There we go. From my friend Royston in America. Right. Cherry beer. Smells lovely. Cheers, me beers. Oh, my goodness me. That does taste of cherry. It doesn't taste like a beer. It tastes more like a cherry cider. It's very nice. Yeah, it reminds me of Wibbly Wobbly Effect 6 years ago and 7 years ago, being in Porlock with my friend Drew. We went down there for the weekend for a cider festival, and we walked from Porlock to Porlock Weir and rocked up at the festival, and then decided to have a glass of cider. We had mango cider. So we sat there for about an hour drinking the mango cider. Then we went to get up, and the whole world just went like that. It was pretty good stuff, but it didn't taste like cider. It just tasted like mango juice. We then had to walk back to Porlock Village very slowly. Anyway, Playhouse Theatre, Edinburgh. The theatre, which was built in 1927 to 29 and can hold 3,000 people, is said to be haunted by a ghost called Albert. His apparition has reputedly been seen apparently often, and his ghost is said to be friendly but mischievous. It is believed that Albert is the bogle of a maintenance man killed in a backstage accident. The theatre stands near Gallow Lee, where Major Thomas Weir, whose house was in the West Bow, see that story, was strangled and burnt for crimes, including incest. Well, that's relatively boring. Theatre, telephone number, and website. I think that's all the cherry beer derps. Slange. Plotcock Castle. In a bend of Plotcock Glen, little survives of an overgrown tower house of the Hamiltons. The tower is said to have been used as a prison. There are tales of the lands around here being haunted by the ghosts. There are tales of the lands around here being haunted by ghosts and by witches. And that's it. That's all we have to say for that. Oh, this Belgian beer. It's got to be somewhere around here that sells Belgian cherry beer. Well, actually, we've got a very good kind of wine merchants just literally over there. So perhaps I'll go down there and ask them. Or I might even Google at half time. I think that's what we'll do. Yeah, I think it's bump time. Oh, lovely. Paul Dean. There was an old tower house at Poldine, a property of the Bells and of the Johnstons, but there are no remains and the location of the site is not even certain. When Poldine was held by the Johnstons, it is said to have been plagued by a bogle, with manifestations including unexplained noises, drums and trumpets, apparitions, and a phantom naked arm. I'll read that again. It is said to have been plagued by a bogle with manifestations including unexplained noises, drums and trumpets, apparitions, and a phantom naked arm. The story is that in the 1650s, English troops occupying the Tower House were terrified by the ghostly manifestations. And that's all we've got to say for that. Oh, derps. I wish I had some tissue in here. Got a bit of a runny nose. Oh, never mind. Slange me far. Oh, lovely. Oh, lovely. Pollock House, Glasgow. Nestling in a country park with fine woodland and shrubbery, the impressive and elegant Pollock House was first built around 1750, which is 10 minutes to 6, and was then remodeled and extended in 1890. The present mansion replaced an ancient castle which had a ditch and drawbridge. This was originally a property of the Pollocks. No, it's true, I tell you, but passed by marriage to the Maxwells in the mid-13th century, and they held Pollock for some 600 years. Pollock was gifted to the city of Glasgow in 1966, and the Burrell collection is situated within the grounds. The house is open to the public and houses the Sterling Maxwell collection of Spanish and European paintings, furniture, ceramics, and silver. The building is said by some to be haunted. Historic National Trust Scotland, open all year, daily, closed 25th and 26th December, and the 1st and 2nd of January. Country Park, open all year, daily, telephone number, website. I'll give the author top marks here because he resisted the temptation to say that the property was held by the Pollocks. So just having a quick look here. That's good though when they say the house is open to the public and houses the Sterling Maxwell collection of Spanish and European paintings, furniture, ceramics, and silver. Goodness me, it's like a shopping list for criminals, that. Right. Beer at a bump time, I think, derps. Oh, lovely. Slange. Poosie Nance's Tavern, Muckline, I think we have. Poosie Nance's Tavern, Muckline. Robert Burns was a patron of Poosie Nance's Tavern, and the building dates back to the 18th century and is still open as an atmospheric hostelry. Poosie Nancy was the name Burns gave Agnes, the wife of George Gibson, who owned the establishment in Burns' time. Burns used many of the regulars and their revelry in the cantata known as the Jolly Beggars. The building has long had a reputation for being haunted. The sound of a young child weeping has been reported coming from the dining room, even though nobody was apparently there. Glasses are said to have fallen from shelves without explanation, and spirit optics have emptied by themselves. Several staff members have also reported feeling an uncomfortable presence in the tavern. Public house telephone number. A paranormal investigation is to be undertaken by Spirit Finders Scotland. Website address. Derpy likes it down there. It doesn't not sitting on my lap anymore. Ingrate. Cheers, me beers. In the magnificent Rush beer glass. Again, viewers Kirsten and Steve in the United States. God bless you. Absolutely God bless you. Slange. Oh, fan mail. Let me just read the fan mail. Oh my goodness me, I can't read that out. Right, I was just going to go and I'll do that at half time as well. Yeah, we'll do that at half time. Powis House, Aberdeen. That's very Welsh sounding, isn't it? Powis House is a 2-storey mansion which dates from 1802, and the present building replaced an ancient castle. The lands were held by the Frasers of Powis, possibly from the early 16th century, but passed to the Leslies and then to the Burnetts in 1781, who held the property until 1866 or later. The grounds were used to build a housing estate in the 1930s, and Powis House is now used as the Powis Community Centre. Quite right too. The basement of the house is said to be haunted by the ghost of a young girl, and there are reports that an apparition has been seen there, as well as in the attic. The story goes that the last died from scarlet fever, or was perhaps pushed down the turnpike stair to the basement. The ghost was named Annie by people who worked at the centre, and other manifestations are said to include a heater being repeatedly turned on despite the room it was being in locked, and unexplained footsteps on the main stair. There is also an account of the bogle of a woman with long dark hair, an indistinct face, and a pale or white dress being seen at one of the windows, bathed by strange blue illuminants. It is not clear if the two apparitions are linked, although there are stories of the phantom of a woman, sometimes spotted with a baby in its arms, the young girl mentioned above, and the voice of a man being heard when nobody was present. Oh, the beer burps at 19 minutes and 53 seconds. There we go, folks. Well, let's get it out. The burp, that is. A paranormal investigation was undertaken in December 2008 by East of Scotland Paranormal website address. Talking of, when I mentioned boilers there, I just suddenly realised I've still got my boiler on downstairs to get some hot water into the system. So when I go downstairs and have supper, I need to turn that off. So beer in a bump time. Slange. Oh, lovely. Oh, cherry Belgian beer. I'm in love. Premier Lodge, Edinburgh. Located in a tall tenement building in the historic Grassmarket is the Premier Lodge, and the hotel is said to be haunted. The phantom of a woman dressed as a maid from Victorian times is reported to have been spotted several times where guests have breakfast, and one account has a man waking to see the apparition of a woman at the end of his bed. Hotel telephone number, website. Misread that for a moment, and the apparition of a man to see the has a man to see the apparition of a woman at the end of his bed. Yeah, that would have been grim, but no. That's me. Our brain doesn't operate properly these days, folks. So some people will say it never has, JM, but there we go. After talking of horror stories, Slange, I need to check the football scores, because after Liverpool's horror story at Manchester City last night, well done Leeds United. I'm just going to message Reg. So yeah, 4-0 at Manchester City. Goodness me, that was awful. So I'm just going to look at the football scores. So Leeds draw Chelsea. See, if Liverpool had won, no, that would have been Man City. Man City faced Southampton in FA Cup semis. So no. At least the Liverpool women's team are through to the FA Cup semi-finals. So, shall we crack on? Stop talking about bloody football, man, for goodness sake. Right. Preston Tower. Standing in fine gardens, but still a somewhat grim and brooding edifice. Preston Tower is a strong L-plan tower of 6 stories, perhaps with work from as early as the 14th century. At the end of that century, Preston passed by marriage to the Hamiltons, with whom it was to have a long association. And they probably built the tower. Preston was torched in 1544, which is 3:45, and then in 1650 by Cromwell. The tower was consolidated in 1936, purchased by the National Trust for Scotland in 1969, and is under the guardianship of the local council. It was repaired in 2004-5. The tower is reputed to have a green lady. National Trust for Scotland. Gardens open all year, daily, dawn to dusk. Tower. The tower may be viewed from the exterior. Telephone number. Right, Preston Tower, Scotland. Let's have a look. Let's see if we can find that. Preston Tower, that's got to be it. East Lothian. Oh my goodness me. Yeah, that's got to be it. Share screen, share screen, share screen. So Preston Tower, standing in fine gardens, but still a somewhat grim and brooding edifice. I think we can call that a somewhat grim and brooding edifice. East Lothian, yeah, that's the one. Preston Tower, East Lothian. So, yeah, that's quite brooding, that. That's quite moody. Okay. Yeah, I think, well, this is a photograph. This is a photo of a listed building number or whatever. Yeah, there we go. So, Preston Tower, East Lothian. That's the one. Always nice to have a bit of context on this show. Oh, goodness me, I've just suddenly realised our little thing down there, that bit there, that's in the wrong font. It should be in a font called Metal or New Rocker. That's more like it. That's a bit more atmospheric. What are we up to? 25 minutes and 56 seconds. 26 minutes. There we go. Another couple, then we can do half time. And then we can have some snacks. I think we'll have some of the Ballycastle chocolate at the moment, as the mood has taken me. Preston Field House, Edinburgh. Preston Field House, an elegant mansion, was built or rebuilt in 1687 for Sir James Dick of Braid, who was Provost of Edinburgh. Prestonfield had earlier been a property of the Hamiltons, and in 1646 Sir James Hamilton of Prestonfield was made hereditary. Read that again. That's a shocking reading. Prestonfield had earlier been a property of the Hamiltons, and in 1646 Sir James Hamilton of Prestonfield was made hereditary keeper of the nearby Holyrood Park and of Holyrood House. The Hamiltons exploited their position by extracting thousands of tons of the stone from the park until 1831, when the House of Lords put a stop to their activity. Prestonfield was burnt out in 1681 by a Protestant mob, and the new house was built for the Dick family, who held the property for almost 300 years. Prestonfield has been used as a hotel since 1958. One story is that a phantom horse-drawn carriage often comes along the main drive early in the morning and then vanishes at the doors of the house. Hotel, telephone number, website. I'm just going to check to make sure everything's working on the live feed. Bum, 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 bum. Bear with, folks. I'm just trying to find my Sunday Night Ghost Stories. Come on, where are we? Nothing worse than doing a live show, and then when you go back, you suddenly realise that the live feed wasn't working. Then you have to go back and reread everything that you've just done. And then when you go back, you suddenly realise that no, we're good. We're good. Let's crack on, shall we? Prestonpans Community Centre. Prestonpans Community Centre is built on the former site of the Shores Hospital, a school for poor boys. This institution, in turn, was replaced by the Mary Murray Institute, a school for destitute girls and young women. Mary Murray's ghost is said to haunt the building and to have been witnessed in the present community centre. Community centre telephone number is built on the site of the Shores Hospital, a school for poor boys who need no sympathy. But they're easy come, easy go, little high, little low. Any way the wind blows, doesn't really matter to them. Well, half time. It's half time. Oh, lovely. Slange. We're at the half-time mark, and I think it's time for some beer snacks, he says, reaching round the Japanese-style mix. Absolutely glorious, this stuff. Right, half-time. What to report? Well, we have had excitement in the garden because I set the trail cams up, leave them running throughout the night. I know it's very rude of me to start talking and start eating, but you never saw Michael Burke doing this on the 9 o'clock news. So so here we go, folks. This is what the trail cam saw. So this was a couple of nights ago. Not one, but not un, but deux hedgehogs. And there we go, look. There's a little bit of barging going on between them, which is quite normal for hedgehogs, but that's the pecking order. And there they are again. So there is food in the dish, but also scattered some on the path as well. And there they are again. Again, this barging, they circle each other and kind of barge each other. Yeah, just push each other. And there they are again. There's the way he's just walking around that one, or she is. And there we are again. Again, more of this circling, but they're too busy eating, quite frankly. And there we have them again. And I think at one stage, one of them just wanders off. He just gets bored. I think this might be the video. I did, when I went out there the other night, last night, to put some food out, proprietary hedgehog food, I came across one of them and he was an absolute monster. There we go, look, he's having so he's pushing. It's this strange barging and shoving they have, but I think at this stage, one of them decides that he's had enough and just wanders off. There's plenty of food there for you both to eat. Unless it's a mating ritual. It's fascinating stuff, though. It really is. Got the beer burps again. Oh, excuse me. Honestly, there is stacks and stacks of video of this. Still. I just think this is brilliant to be able to watch wildlife in your own garden. And I know that when I like the way he's just walking around in circles there at the moment, or she. But anyway, it just goes on and on and on. But there is one bit of video where one of them wanders off down the path, and that was it really. So that was quite exciting, he said, bigging it up quite a bit. But then we had more excitement because there's loads of footage of the hedgehogs. Like I say, to have one hedgehog is pretty cool. And also I've got in the garden, down the end of the garden, I've got a hedgehog house. And lo and behold, there it is being used by one of the hogs. You can see it wandering around inside. And then you can see it's coming out. So that's good news. That I know that the hog house is being used. But even more exciting was this. Brace yourselves. Just bringing up the video. Oh, for goodness sake, where's the enlarge button? That's what she said. Oh, there it is. So, look at this. We have a very skinny fox in the garden. That's obviously had a bit of a harsh winter. There it is, picking off bits and pieces of the hedgehog biscuits and hopefully slugs and snails. And there's a still image of it. And here's some more video. I think it is picking off slugs and snails. And another still image, very skinny fox. It can't help it though. Obviously been a harsh winter for it. Isn't this fascinating to have this all in your own garden, literally yards away from where you're asleep, which is the beauty of having a trail cam set up, because it tells you what's going on in your garden at night, and it picks up makes up a brilliant picture of the wildlife in the garden. There you go. This fox is tucking into the hedgehog biscuits in the dish there, but it's welcome to. And absolutely beautiful creatures, they really are. Whoops-a-daisy. And that was the first clue I had. It was like something from Jurassic Park. It was just this skinny leg going past the camera. And I thought, I wonder if that's a fox. But yeah, so that's been the excitement in my garden over the weekend. And set the trail cameras up before we went live tonight. So wait to see what they pick up overnight. So anyway, snack time. Sorry, folks, I'm absolutely dirt hungry tonight. I'm dropping snacks down there. On Sunday night, I tuned in to watch Sunday Night Ghost Stories. Instead, I watched a confused man from Dudley with holes in his head eating snacks. So that sounds like a pretty normal episode of Sunday Night Ghost Stories, quite frankly. So part 2 of tonight's show. And part 2 of tonight's show is the Treeboom Brewery Welsh Sparkle. 4%. Treboom, it's the sound of a drum roll banging the drum for great Welsh beer. We would love to hear from you. info@treboom.co.uk. Treboom Brewery, Bagilt, North Wales. Really pale ale. Refreshing Welsh water together with the finest hops and barley is used to create this perfectly brewed, delicious pale ale. Clear and bright with hints of grapefruit and tropical fruits. Relax and savour the tastes brewed in Wales. It's surely a Moorish pint. Welsh Sparkle is a pale ale that has been brewed with expertise and love. It's our gift to you, the perfect quitch in a can. Great with fish and chips. Haven't got any fish and chips. Try our delicious range of beers. Visit us at www.tribune.com. Follow us, Tribune Brewery. Okay, 4%. So not exactly a lightweight, bit stronger than the last one. I think I'll have some of the Japanese snacks, then we'll get on with part 2 of tonight's show. So Princes Street, Edinburgh. Wasn't that a Fish song, Exile on Princes Street? I think it was. Anyway, Princes Street, Edinburgh. The West End is said to be haunted by a weeping woman, the bogle of one Moira Blair. The story goes that her husband had been murdered in the area. The poor woman found his body and in distress stumbled into the road and was killed by coach and horses. Sounds of her weeping have also been reported in Princes Street Gardens and in St. John's Church, and her apparition has also allegedly been seen. Read that again. Sounds of her weeping have also been reported in Princes Street Gardens and in St. John's Church, and her apparition has also allegedly been seen. Accessible at all times. We're going to take a photograph of Derpy here because he's sat right in front of the fire. And of course, the moment I moved my foot, he moved as well. Perfect. Perfect. Right. So what have we got here? Grapefruit and hints of grapefruit and tropical fruits. They all say that. They all taste the same, but no, I think we can. Definitely picking up grapefruit there. That's very nice. And that was from Home Bargains. So I think we might be paying a visit to Home Bargains for our beer again in the future, because these were as cheap as chips and pretty tasty. And what do you know? We have another dead soldier. And Run VT.
Oh, it's jolly nice of you. Hello, dead soldier. Seen plenty of those in my time.
Ha 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 ha. Indeed. Oh, the beer burps again. Prince's House, Glenfinnan. The Prince's House Hotel, set in a beautiful and remote part of Scotland on the road between Fort William and Mallaig, is a small former coaching inn, and the building dates from 1658, which is 2 minutes to 7. It was nearby, and the site marked by a tall monument that Bonnie Prince Charlie raised his father's standard, and so started the Jacobite Rising of 1745 to 46. At one time, the house is recorded as being owned by the tallest landlord. At one time, the house is recorded as being owned by the tallest landlord. At one time, the house is recorded as being owned by the tallest landlord in Scotland, said to be 6 foot and 7 inches tall. The building is said to be haunted by both a grey lady, reputed to be seen on the stairs, and by a bearded Highlander, who has allegedly been observed wandering the building. Neither ghost is said to be frightening. Hotel and restaurant, telephone number, website. Goodness me, Derps. I think the day's starting to wear us out a bit here, actually. Cheers. Oh, the chocolate liqueur. Oh, lovely. Proven Hall, or Proven Hall. Yeah, Proven Hall. Standing in the grounds of Auchinleigh Park, Proven Hall is a fine old house which dates from the 15th century and is enclosed by a walled courtyard with an arched gateway. The lands were owned by Glasgow Cathedral, but by the 16th century had been acquired by the Bailey family, who built the house. The property later passed by marriage to the Hamiltons. The property was sold to the city of Glasgow in 1667, and in 1935 it was given to the National Trust for Scotland. Proven Hall is said to be haunted by the ghost of Reston Mathers, seen on the stair of Blochern House and dressed in a white suit and black bowler hat. Sounds like Malcolm McDowell from A Clockwork Orange, but never mind. There is also reputed to be a white lady. She is believed to be the apparition of the wife of one of the lairds. The poor woman was murdered along with her son, reputedly in one of the first floor chambers, and her ghost has allegedly been seen and heard at the gate calling for her lad. There are stories that staff have heard unexplained noises in the building, even believingly again. There are stories that staff have heard unexplained noises in the building, even believing they were being burgled, and have felt as if they were being touched by icy, invisible fingers. National Trust for Scotland, managed by the City of Glasgow Council, open all year, Monday to Friday, except December the 25th and 26th and January the 1st and 2nd, and when special events in progress. Tell to confirm, telephone number, website. A paranormal investigation was undertaken in May 2005 and in June 2007 by the Ghost Club. Website address. Must join the Ghost Club, actually, because that's the one that the late, great Peter Underwood was a member of. I think membership's about, it's not that much. I really should join, actually. Strange. Cheers, me beard. Proven's Lordship, Glasgow. Proven's Lordship, the oldest house in Glasgow with steep roofs and Corby-stepped gables, dates from 1471 and was built by Bishop Muirhead as part of St. Nicholas's Hospital. The building also housed the prebend of The building also housed the prebend of Ballinlough. Right, we'll give that a run up. The building also housed the prebend of Ballinlough or Proven, and hence the name. Also see Proven Hall. There are period displays and furniture, as well as a recreated medieval herb garden, one in Glastonbury Abbey, actually. There are stories that the building is haunted, and manifestations are reputed to include objects being moved around by themselves, the sounds of unexplained footsteps being heard around the building, and some areas being extremely and suddenly cold. Open all year except closed December 25th, 26th, and the 1st and 2nd of January. Telephone number, website. 52 minutes. Goodness me, it's that Belgian beer's finished me off tonight. Sloan. Provost Skeens House, Aberdeen. Provost Skeens House is a fine fortified townhouse and dates from about 1545, which is a quarter to 4. Magnificent 17th century plaster ceiling and wood panelling survives, and the painted gallery features a unique cycle of tempera wall and ceiling painting depicting Christ's life. The house is home to a museum, and rooms include a suite of Georgian chambers and an Edwardian nursery. The house was a property of George Skene of Rubislaw, a wealthy merchant and provost of the city from 1669. The Duke of Cumberland stayed here for 6 weeks in 1746 on his way to Culloden and defeat the Jacobites. Read that again. The building is said to be haunted, including by the apparition of a woman spotted in the parlour room in the 17th century part of the building, believed by some to be the bogle of Elizabeth Aberdore, wife of Matthew Lumsden, who owned the house in the 17th century. Their initials and the date 1626 are carved on one of the dormer window pediments. Another phantom has allegedly been seen in the original kitchen, a woman dressed in an old-fashioned manner with a bonnet. Other manifestations are reported, not least ghostly footsteps reputedly heard following people using the turret stair, and the doors into the painted gallery apparently being held closed by invisible hands. Visitors to the house have also reported being touched or jostled by unseen hands, and the building reputedly sometimes has an uncomfortable or even foreboding atmosphere. Open all year, Monday to Saturday, closed 25th to 26th, closed 25th, 26th, 31st of December, and the 1st of 2nd of January. Telephone number, website. Goodness me, Derbs. Oh, I think we'll have a bit more of the Western Gold honey, and then that'll be it for tonight. Then we're downstairs to watch some Family Guy. Have some supper, watch some Family Guy, fall asleep. That's pretty much it. Oh, fan mail. Let's read the fan mail. No. I'm just going to say the world is waking up to the fact that the American president apparently has had a bit of a sweary time. You know what I'm thinking. I hope you don't know what I'm thinking, because what I'm thinking is quite irreversible. But I've got to try and remember where we are at the moment. Queen Margaret Drive, Glasgow. The former BBC headquarters on Queen Margaret Drive was partly housed in a fine edifice dating from 1869, which was originally built as a country house. In 1884, the house was occupied by Queen Margaret College, the first college for women in Scotland, and some 10 years or so later, it was here that Britain's first women's medical school was founded, designed by architects including Charles Rennie Mackintosh. The BBC became established here in 1936, but recently vacated the building, moving to Pacific Quay, and the 5-acre site is to be redeveloped. The story goes that the apparition of a woman dressed in a long-sleeved frock with a stiff white collar has been spotted in the corridors of the building during the night. It is also said that some areas have such bad feelings that some members of staff could not tolerate them and refused to work there. Former BBC headquarters. A paranormal investigation was undertaken in August 2007 by Borders Paranormal Group. Website address. Goodness me, we are running out of show, folks. Cheers, me beers. And as ever, in the magnificent United Federation of Planet shot glass, again courtesy of viewers Kirsten and Steve in the United States. Cheers, me beers. Oh, lovely. Queensberry House, Edinburgh. Queensberry House is an imposing old mansion at the foot of the Royal Mile and now forms part of the buildings which make up the Scottish Parliament, being used as offices for, among others, the presiding officer. The building probably dates from 1681 and was held by the Dukes of Queensberry, hence the name. Having been bought by the Board of Ordnance in 1803, it was then used as a barracks, no, it's true, I tell you, as a house of refuge for the destitute, and as an old people's home until 1996. The building was then restored and renovated, including replacing all the floors and returning the roof pitch as to when the house was first built. The story goes that James Douglas, 2nd Earl of Queensberry, had a son who suffered from bouts of insanity and was kept locked in his chambers at Queensberry House for his own and others' protection. During the troubles around the Treaty of Union in 1707, the son escaped and had a free run of the building, as all the family and staff were occupied outside. All that is, except for a lad who was working in the kitchen tending the fire. The motive is not clear, although perhaps mad hunger drove him. But Queensberry's son seized the unfortunate lad, tied him to a spit, and then roasted him over the great kitchen fire. It is said that when the family returned, they found the house filled with a terrible stench, and the remains of the lad, scorched and blackened, still tethered to the spit. The story goes that the apparition of the kitchen lad has been witnessed in the building, and often the unexplained smell of charring meat wafts through the chambers. Part of the Scottish Parliament Buildings website. There we go, folks. The stench of roasted human flesh. That's what happens if you vote for Farage and Reform. So, right, last un for tonight. I mean, I could sit here all night slagging off those fascist twats, but I'm not going to. Last un for tonight. Rasay House. On the long and picturesque island of Rasay, which lies just off Skye, Rasay House dates from 1747, which is 13 minutes to 6. Again. On the long and picturesque island of Rasay, which lies just off Skye, Rasay House dates from 1747 and replaced an old tower house of 3 stories called Kimlaug Castle. Sorry. Called, let's read that again. That's a shocking read. Always happens. Get towards the end of the show, the shocking readings come in. Rasay House. On the long and picturesque island of Rasay, which lies just off Skye, Rasay House dates from 1747 and replaced an old tower house of 3 stories called Kilmalaug Castle. The island was held by the MacLeods of Rasay, who were Jacobites. Bonnie Prince Charlie was briefly sheltered on Rasay in 1746. The island was sacked in retaliation, and every dwelling on Rasay was torched, plus the islanders' boats were holed, and 280 cows and 700 sheep were slaughtered. One would imagine not for food. I'm a vegetarian, but if you say to me 280 cows and 700 sheep were slaughtered, well, where do you think your beef and your roast lamb comes from? So come on. In 1846, the 12th and last chief of MacLeod had to sell the property, and the islands went through many years of underinvestment, depopulation, and poor management. But things have improved in recent years. Rasay House, an outdoor centre with accommodation and a cafe, wink, was being renovated, however, when it suffered a serious fire in January 2009. Rasay House is said to be haunted. Manifestations are reputed to have been experienced in 4 of the rooms, and a spectral dog to have been witnessed in the kitchen. The apparition of a Dr. Green is reported to have been seen on the stairs. There is also reputed to be the bogle of a piper, a McCrimmon. It is believed that the ghost has never been seen, but at times the sounds of pipes are said to be heard. Outdoor centre with cafe and accommodation, telephone number, website. And that's where we're going to leave it tonight. When we pick up again, fingers crossed, on Wednesday, it should be the Radisson SAS Hotel. Wednesday, fingers crossed, I am hoping to have a 2-reg adventure down on the West Somerset Railway with His Reginaldness. Oh, the beer burps again. But that all depends on whether I can get my car into a garage on Tuesday to get my electronic management unit looked at, or whether Reg can borrow a car for Wednesday. We've got a plan anyway. So, Slansby Bar. Oh, delicious. Cheers, me beers. Oh, delicious, sir. That's it. That's your lot. So like I say, fingers crossed, we'll be back on Wednesday for, brace yourselves, Sunday Night Ghost Stories Extra on a Wednesday. Until then, it behoves me to say thank you for watching. Why not? What else are you going to do on Easter Sunday than watch a confused man from Dudley with holes in his head, drink ghost stories and read alcohol? Frankly, you can do better. I can't. I am trapped in this existence, but you can do better. Anyway, until the next time, as ever, thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay out of trouble, and please don't have nightmares. Good night.